And I'm Chrissy.
And welcome back to Talking Shit. Um,
Apparently, I was talking shit today.
so when we were setting up, I accidentally need my friend in the eye, and it's kind of bad. She's gonna have a black eye, so we're gonna do the episode with ice on her eye today. We're also celebrating her birthday.
A
And
little
what's today?
backstory. She wasn't even going to get me ice. I had to ask 3 times.
I mean,
Not only did she give me a black eye, she wasn't going to give me ice. So we're talking about friendship today.
and we're gonna talk about how to be a good friend. We'll save how to be a bad friend for next time. But number one thing, don't knee your friends in the eye. That's a bad friend.
It was an accident.
It was an accident. I mean, she went down and I went. She's used to going down.
Moving on.
Also, I have a little bit of a cough today, so if I have to take a break, I'm really sorry. But I'm recovering from death itself. Yeah, that's what I feel like. I've been sick for so long, I feel like death.
She took her frustrations out on my face.
Apparently. So we're talking about friendships today.
Yes.
Actually, another backstory. We've already shot this episode, but we had some technical difficulties and we didn't really have any sound. It was great watching us, though. We were super funny.
We thought we did good.
Correct. So, friendships, how to be a good friend. There's ways that you can be good friends and bad friends, but today in part one, we're just going to talk about how to be a good friend. So some of the main things: respect, boundaries, common goals, complement each other. So we'll go into and compassion and grace. So we'll go into a little bit more detail. So respect. I feel like that's really, really a big one in friendship. If you don't have a common respect for each other, how can you even be friends?
Well, and you don't have to have the same opinion, just respecting the differences in each other. And,
I feel like a lot of people in the world if feel like they can't be friends or they can't be intertwined with someone who doesn't have the same
point of view.
point of view as them.
Yeah.
And
Very narrow-minded.
correct, and I disagree with that. I think that having friends that have different opinions or it takes you out of your comfort zone for one, because I know that like there's plenty of times where when you and I first became friends, I was like, oh my God, I don't know that I'll do that stuff. But the more that, I've pushed or you've pushed and you've got me out of my comfort zone, the more, things I'm able to do. So I feel like having a mutual respect and being open-minded to your friends' ideas and their way of doing things is, that's a great way to be a good friend. Because if you only have your closed mindedness, oh, things have to be done this way, then you're probably not going to have a lot of friends because there's not a lot of people who are the same in this world.
One of my favorite things about our friendship, I think, and this comes with respect, but we call each other when something's going on, whether it's in a relationship or work or whatever. And we do that. We rely on each other for that because we know that we don't think the same.
Correct.
And we know that if we call each other,
I know some of my weaknesses. I'm like, oh my God, I need Chrissy here for this one because she
Yeah.
really needs to ground me on this one. So yeah.
And we do that really good with each other. So that's definitely like one of my favorite things. I think it's really helped our friendship flourish and respect each other's differences, because when I'm having a day or when I'm upset about something and you give me a different point of view, and it makes me think about it and
Yeah.
step back and think, okay, so maybe that's why this happened.
Yeah.
So it's really strengthened us.
It is. It really has. And another good thing is boundaries in in a friendship. I know we talked about this the last episode that nobody got to hear, so I'll reiterate. I know there's certain boundaries, and I think this is really important. I think in friendships who, I guess for our aspect, you're married. I'm going through a divorce, and I guess one of the boundaries is that I respect your it's not like I'm sending you like pictures of this guy or this guy.
Right.
Hey, what do you think about this guy? I'm gonna, what I could talk to him, I could go on a date with him, like those. I guess that's a really good example for me of boundaries set in a friendship. Like I know that like that's a boundary that,
Right.
I would never do that with you or any of my other friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
and it just reiterates like what you said.
Right.
There's certain friends that you can go to for certain things. It's not like I wouldn't want to I'll have a conversation with you, but I respect your marriage and our friendship more than anything.
Right. And, I mean, really, like, I don't want to see a bunch of pictures of a bunch of other
No.
guys or guys that you're talking to. Like, those don't need to come to me. When we're together and have a conversation, if you want to show me stuff, that's great. But, my husband wouldn't appreciate it, and it would
And
put me in a bad
and you wouldn't
position.
appreciate it if somebody on his side was doing the
Right.
same thing.
Exactly.
It would be disrespectful to your
Right,
marriage.
exactly.
Yeah.
And he is a very loyal person, and he would tell his friends just that. Like,
Yeah.
no, don't
And
do that.
I feel like you would tell me
Oh,
too. You would be
absolutely.
like, listen,
I don't think so.
uh,
Yeah,
don't send me that, Yeah.
right.
So boundaries, what are some other examples that maybe you can think of for boundaries in a friendship?
Well, I think that it's really, really, and I think you kind of touch on this in the beginning, but it's really, really important to like support your friends in their endeavors. Like, you are a business owner, I'm a business owner, and we're very loyal to each other in that aspect. And we're always supporting each other. Like when I have an event going on, you always donate and stuff. I'm always trying to get you memberships to your gym. So we're
Supporting each other, yes.
always supporting each other.
Always being your biggest
Yeah,
cheerleaders.
absolutely.
But I will say that I don't have passive or tell you what you want to hear friends. And those are the best kind of friends to have.
Oh, right.
I have four really close friends, and I know each and every one of my friends' strengths and weaknesses, like what you said. There's certain ones that I'll probably call for certain things. Well, I talk to most four of those friends on a daily basis. If I don't talk to them, then they'll probably think something was wrong with me. But you have different friends that you call for different things, and having those are, really, really good friendships that
Yeah.
will tell you when you need to hear the certain things that you need to hear
Yeah.
that
I
maybe
have
you
a
don't
lot
want
of
to
friends.
hear,
Right.
but yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of acquaintances, but
Right.
I have four very close friends that like know every single thing about my life.
Right. And there's a lot of people I would show up for. There's a lot of people that I've been friends with for years and years, but I know who my core group is.
Correct.
I limit my time because my time is precious to my core group.
Yes. I think people sometimes think that that's not a good thing to do, but I feel the opposite about it. I feel like it's okay to be acquaintances with everybody. I don't care to be everybody's friend. I mean, I do want to be nice and be reminded or be remembered as somebody who was a good person, but I don't want to spread myself so thin that I'm like, oh, I got to be a good friend to this friend and this friend and this friend. That's why I know my limitations, and I know, like you said, time. I know that my four friends that like I would literally be there for anything. They could call me in the middle of the night. Well, yes, I have acquaintances like what you said too. Four friends, that's what my core group is.
And, we had an instance, actually, it was right before the last episode that we didn't air. And Haley called me upset. And we talked about this last time too. So she called me upset, and she knew if she would have called one of our other friends, then it would have been a complete emotional breakdown for everybody. But she called me.
Because I needed someone to ground
Right,
me and bring me down
right,
and be like, it's fine. We're
right,
gonna get through this. We're gonna handle it. Yeah.
right, right. And the same thing, like, we know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we know who to call, when to call. We're the same friend group. And I can tell you, limiting my friends and the time that I spend outside of my family has brought me so much peace.
And
It's
I think people
crazy.
are like, I feel bad. You should not feel bad that you cannot be a best friend to everybody.
I'm a
I
good
don't.
friend. I'm a
I'm a
good
good
friend to
friend to a
everybody.
lot of people,
Yeah.
but I'm a best friend to very few people. And
Yeah. And
that's
I
how I
have a
want it. And that's
I
how I
have a
like it.
story. I think that society just it thinks that you should just be everybody's friend.
And if you don't get along, then you shouldn't be their friend. That's the
Right. And
opposite
that's
too.
not true. That's
You
not true. Like, there's lots of people that I don't necessarily care for. And trust me, I'm not for everybody. And I know that. And I'm totally fine with that. But I admire those people from a distance for different things. But when my youngest was in preschool, um, he got in trouble.
I love this story.
Yeah.
I love it.
He
Hands
got
down one of the best stories I've ever heard
he's
that you
he's super competitive, very, very competitive kid. And he got in trouble. I think he was probably like 4 years old. He was running with a ball in gym, and gym had just started. It's a 30-minute period. And this little boy was running after him, calling his name. Well, he's competitive. Like he's running. He's not
He
giving up
is your
at all.
son.
Yeah, he's very
Hands
competitive.
down the most
Yeah.
competitive person I've ever met in my entire life. I can get dressed faster than you.
So much that Haley's gonna have two black eyes next episode.
Probably.
We're boxing after this. Anyway, so my little guy, he's running with the ball, and the teacher pulled him aside because he did not stop. He just kept running when this little boy was telling him to stop. And he had to sit and watch everybody play for the next 25 minutes. So he is a very soft-hearted, sensitive kid. So after school, he tells me the story. And I'm thinking, no, really? Like you had to, no, like surely I don't have the whole story. And he's really upset. So I said, next morning, get him up and I get him ready. And I said, I'm going to go into school with you and we're going to talk to your teacher. And he is like, I'm not going. And I was like, oh, you're going. He's like, I'm not going to school. And I said, you're going, buddy. So we go and we walk in and I asked the teacher what happened the day before. And she said that Hudson was not being a good friend because he was running with the ball and the little boy told him to stop and he didn't stop. And so she made him sit in timeout the rest of the gym time. And I said, was he mean to him? And she said, well, no. And I said, so he was running with the ball and this little boy was not as fast as him. But since he said that my son had to stop and he didn't stop, he's a bad friend. She said he has to be friends with everybody. And I said, oh, no, I don't think so. Now, he has to be nice to everybody, but he does not have to be everybody's friend. She said, in this school, you have to be friends with everybody. I said, absolutely not. My child will never be told he has to be friends with everybody. That is a very poor lesson.
Yep.
Absolutely not. I said, we're taking today off. And we
You just
left.
have to be nice.
You have to be nice to everybody, but you do not have to be everybody's friend. And that was a very, very good lesson for Hudson. And
It's a good lesson for anybody.
yeah, we still live by that. Like you be nice to everybody, but you do not have to be everybody's friend. Not everybody brings what you need to the table.
I totally agree.
And if that boy is not as fast as Hudson, that is not Hudson's fault. That boy needs to run faster.
Correct. I totally agree.
And I've also taught Hudson, though, there's always going to be somebody bigger and better. So you train harder.
Yep. And those are like the lessons that I think that we just been taught from
Yeah,
such a young
you
age. So it just
mixed.
seems second nature to us. So when we're like, wait, I actually don't like I'm gonna be nice and cordial to you, but I
Yeah.
don't have to
It's okay
you don't
not
have
to
to be
like
my
people.
person.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's okay not to like
Yes.
people. That you don't have the right to not be nice to them. Another thing is, and this was just something recent that I came across and I was like, wow, why are these things not taught to us as we're growing up? If somebody cannot change something within themselves within 60 seconds, don't mention it. Do not mention it to them.
But
Because
give me
like
examples.
like you got a haircut. It's gone and I don't like it. I'm not going to mention your haircut. If you say, do you like my shirt? And I don't like it, I'm going to say, oh, I don't think it flatters you. You can change your shirt. You can't change your hair.
Yeah.
If somebody cannot change something within 60 seconds about themselves, keep your comment to yourself.
I like it.
You don't need to say it.
Yeah.
And that's being a good friend.
So if I get a bad haircut, you're not gonna tell
I'm
me.
going to tell you, but
I was like,
but
I was getting a little bit worried. I was like, wait.
but no, really, like I think the point more is like don't just walk up
Yes, and say
point something out to
yeah,
somebody.
I'm not really a fan. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
I'm not
totally
really
get
a
it. But I've never heard it put
Yeah,
into that
I'm not really a
perspective, so I
fan of
like
your
it. Yeah.
nose. I'm not really a fan of your nose. Like if you can't change that within 60 seconds, just don't.
I like
Just don't.
my nose. Stop making me self-conscious today. I'm not a fan of your eye.
Which one, the big one or the little one?
But
But no,
the
really,
one
I
that
mean,
keeps like
there's
getting closer to me. Oh God. Oh, that's perfect. We're gonna make that the cover for this episode.
no,
We
but
may
really,
be a little dramatic at times.
there are ways to be nice and there are ways to be a good friend. Not everybody,
Is gonna be in your circle.
yeah,
And
and
that's
they're not going to
okay.
bring what you need to the table.
Correct. So let's talk about this one too, because I've had some instances recently where I've seen and been a bystander and just watching where some people outgrow friendship.
Oh, yes.
And that's okay too. Like if you are
No ill will.
correct. So say, let's just say you reinvent yourself every 10 years. So this decade you have this group of friends, but then you're moving into this and this group of friends doesn't have the same goals in mind. Now, I don't want to say you just cut off friendships, but like if somebody doesn't have the same goals or isn't on the same track, or so I'm going to give you an example. So say I'm a high functioning person and every day I'm out there, I'm beating the ground, I'm just like hitting it hard. I'm succeeding at life. I'm making, goals and blah, blah, blah. But then I have this friend who's like, eh, I like to stay at home. I just like to watch TV on my couch all day. Well, yes, that's okay for them. That's probably not going to be somebody that I'm going to take into the next stage of my life, because while I'm focusing on getting them out of their rut and telling them, I could be focusing on other things. And that sounds kind of like very selfish, but it's not. If you don't take care of you and yourself first and keep your inner core circle, people around you who are going to be your biggest cheerleaders, who are going to build you up, have same, I don't want to say, maybe not the same goals, but same,
Vision.
vision for like succeeding and being, a good person, then that's okay. You can outgrow friends and still have a friendship per se with them, but not the closeness that if it's
Well, there's a
okay.
there's a few things, like um if you have a lifelong friend and you guys aren't really it, equivalent in where you're at in life, it doesn't mean that they're not your friend. I have some very long-standing friends that would show up for me and I would show up for them in a heartbeat. We don't talk all the time. We don't talk every day, but I do consider them good friends. But I was listening to a podcast this morning, one of my favorite podcasts, and she was talking about this right here. And she said that she had just recently set some boundaries and basically broke up with a friend, which I broke up with quite a few friends the last year of my life. And it's been so freeing. Um, and she said, I want a friendship that is going to share a loaf with me and not just give me their crumbs.
Amen.
And that I was like, yes, yes.
An important aspect of it too is if you have friends like that, you feel like just at least communicate what you're feeling and what you're thinking to them too. Because I will say I've been on the opposite end of it before, where I felt like a friend has just broken up with me, just like kind of just distance, and there was really no conversation, no closure. I don't really know if I did something or if I didn't do something, or if maybe we just didn't have the same goals in life anymore. But I mean, I'm still very cordial to this person. I see this person maybe once a week and we say hi, how are the kids, blah blah blah. But it's not the friendship that it was, and I really still to this day don't know. um
Have you ever asked?
I may at some point say, like, is there something that I did or was I doing so then I
What would
just
that
know.
change? What would it change?
It
See,
really isn't going to change anything.
yeah,
All that it really is going to do is it actually might hurt my feelings and say, I wish you would have just brought that to my attention,
yeah,
because maybe I just wasn't aware. That's another aspect too. Some people aren't aware of things.
yeah. Well, I have a long-term friend that I definitely distanced myself with, and I never had a conversation. But the thing is I felt like we really had multiple conversations before, maybe not as direct, but it just got to the point where I was like, this just has became so unhealthy,
Mhm.
and I'm a fixer. So I used to try to help, a couple of these friends that I've walked away from fix things that weren't so peaceful in their life. And it just was so consuming and
And
draining.
it ended up
And I just
affecting
walked
your
away.
life and your
I just walked away.
relationships. And
Yep.
yeah, it's like,
And I didn't have that conversation with either one of them, and neither one of them masses. As a matter of fact, we were together. We saw one
so you're
recently.
saying maybe I should ask so that she knows that at least it mattered and it cared to me, or you're
I
saying
mean,
just
I'm
let
saying
it,
it wouldn't matter. I mean, what's it going to change for you?
it's not going to
Like,
change anything for
yeah,
me, but it might
it
change
makes
for
sense.
her to say like, maybe she did, maybe to show her like what you said, because what I got from what you just said is almost like neither one of them, you feel like the friendship didn't matter as much either, because neither one of them have reached out to you and said, hey, did something happen? So almost feel like if I say that to her, she'll know. And it, like you said, it's not going to change anything other than to let her know that her friendship did matter to me.
Well, this is the thing with my situations. I think that both of the friends that I kind of walked away from, I do feel like they know why,
Yeah.
but I feel like they're not willing to acknowledge or
Have the
change
hard
those behaviors.
conversations.
Yeah. And I love hard conversations. And so for me, I'm totally okay not being friends with them. They were not sharing their loaf.
Yeah.
I
They were
was only
giving
getting
you the
crumbs.
crumbs.
And I don't really care to reach out or explain to them why, because it was me, it wasn't them. I just walked away from those situations.
That's some good food for thought. I don't, I don't know, I feel
I think it would
conflicted.
change nothing. I think it would change absolutely nothing in your situation. And I know how you are. And the one thing it would do is she's probably going to tell you something.
That I don't want to hear.
Well, not necessarily that, but a negative experience that she had with you.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you're not for everybody. So it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. If she didn't respect your friendship enough to have that conversation then to try to save your friendship, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, like my yeah, I wouldn't even say I'm not friends with him. We don't talk. Um, if they called me, I don't know. I don't know if I'd show up anymore, to be honest.
I've seen a lot of changing in me this year, saying
Yeah.
no to things, saying no to, I don't want to say things, saying no to things that really you're saying no to yourself. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Say, like, you're saying yes to something and then it's affecting you. So saying
Yeah.
no, it's like, yeah, it's kind of relieving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, so that's a really good way to lead into like the last one. Compassion and grace for friends. You know, we should have compassion and grace for everybody.
Everyone.
And I think that a lot of things that happen in this world, people want to deal with people by the law or this or that. But just imagine how much further you could get with people if you were just compassionate and graceful. Everybody's fighting their own battles. Like, you have no idea some of the times that I was probably fighting biggest I mean, you do, but
Yeah.
some people, I was fighting some of the
They're so
biggest battles of my
judgmental.
life,
Yeah.
but I would put a smile on my face, and then it would be one little thing that would just, so
Trigger you.
yeah.
So I manage rental properties, and I think one of the things that has made me such a good property manager is I firmly live by, if when somebody comes to me with something, um, I flip the script. Like, what if that was me? How would I want to be handled? How would
Exactly.
I want to be talked to? How would I want to be treated? And 99.9% of the time I get the respect. I communicate with them. We get whatever they need accomplished. And investments are hard. It's like I have to protect the owner, I have to protect the tenant, I have to protect my company. So in those situations, I flip the script. And same thing with friendship. Like I flip the script.
There's been
Okay, so
so many times that, like, I know, like, Harmony wants space sometimes. I'm the biggest one. Like, there's so many times where, like,
where is this going?
Harmony's tried to break up with us. I've tried to break up with it. It's not that we really want to break up as friends. It's just, when my energy or something is off, I isolate.
You retreat.
I retreat
Yeah.
until I can figure and think things out myself. And
Usually Harmony doesn't retreat. Usually when something's off for Harmony, she goes from like 3 to 10.
yeah. And so in our friendship, in all around
This
friendship,
is a reset.
you have to have compassion
Yeah.
and grace, because when they're telling you, I'm having a bad day and I just want you guys to leave me alone. Okay, yes, they're saying that because they're having a bad day, but they really don't want left alone. So what I think Harmony, when she did that, she really wanted us to buy dinosaur costumes and wrestle in her front yard.
And we were going to,
Yes.
but so when Harmony had texted us that, and she had every right to want to retreat and
Yes.
be left alone. She was going through a lot. My response was, yeah, sorry, that doesn't work for me. We have a group text, and that was my exact response. Or, yeah, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And later on that day, Harmony and I had a phone conversation, and
I literally would make people drive out. I'll ignore my phone. Like, I'm the type, I lose my phone. I lost my phone this morning. I lost my purse this morning.
You
Like,
lost your purse
if it's
yesterday.
not attached to me, it's just, I don't know. It just, sometimes it goes places. Like yesterday, I think I left my purse here. I don't even know how I got home, but apparently I need to look for my extra key in my Wagoneer because apparently yesterday I just left my purse here and went home. And I was like, oh, where's my purse? Oh, it's still for him.
And then she's like, I'm gonna have to look at my cameras to see if I can walk
No,
in with my
I have
purse.
to have my Alexa set up with my phone so that my Alexa can drop in and like find my phone because I lose it in my house all the time. Like I'll set it in my closet, like here I'm going to get dressed and then I'll put another pair of pants on. I'm never finding that again.
And you can't call yourself.
In the fridge, I found
And
it in the
you
fridge.
can't tell somebody to
No,
call you.
no. But where this was going is I literally I'm the type of person that I will retrieve. I'll just ignore my phone. You could text me 100 times and I'm not gonna text you back.
Oddly
And
enough, I know where you live.
yeah, so
Yeah. I will show up.
you have to
Yeah.
have a lot of compassion and grace for me when I'm going through things like that because it's not I'm holding anything against anybody. I'm just isolating and
And when Haley did that, and this has been a while back, I said, you're gonna have to block me. If you don't want me to text you, I don't care if you respond to me, but I'm gonna send you these messages. I'm gonna send you these quotes. I'm gonna send you this, that I like you're gonna have to block me
yeah.
for me to.
You're not always going to agree with your friends on everything. It's okay to have different opinions, but
And
still have
just
compassion and grace for the things that they
respect.
believe or yeah. I mean, it's all like intertwining together. Respect, boundaries, common goals, complement each other's personalities, compassion and grace, and be okay with breaking up with friends.
And then black their eye.
Yeah, right there.
That's
So
exactly how it happened. Yeah.
next time we're gonna do bad friends
What
because
makes a friend bad?
yeah, because sometimes there can be things that you could be doing that you don't even know you're being a bad friend. That maybe
And
if you
Haley,
were more aware of, you would change that about the friendship.
and to lead into the next episode, Haley had a situation that she had a really good friend, and that friend didn't like Haley's choices right then and said, we can't be friends, but you're still friends now.
Yeah. Um, so I mean, there's being self-aware can make a huge difference in relationships, friendships,
And that
everything.
situation just bettered you as a person.
Correct. Yeah.
Really, for sure.
Um, everything that you go through in life, there's always going to be, stepping stones and things
Yeah.
like that. So you want to give us a good quote to leave with today?
It's a very well-known quote, but it's what I always say to my kids for sure, that if you look at your five closest friends, you see your future.
Amen. Yep,
Amen.
sure do. Well, thank you. And like I said, come back next time for how to be a bad
For how to
friend.
be a bad friend.